What is up, everyone? Urbex and Coasters here, and there is something that I want to talk about. So, this actually came about because of a video that I saw from a YouTuber who's totally not in the theme park sphere. Imagine that. I'm talking about a theme park topic because of a video that I saw from someone who is not in the theme park sphere. It's not something you'd expect, but I am going to credit YouTuber Smarty Pants for drawing my attention to the thing that ultimately made me want to talk about this. So, Six Flags, post Six Flags Cedar Fair merger, so the whole company, they're going to be using IPs beyond DC Comics and Looney Tunes. And I'll get more into that, but I will say, first off, I looked at the licensing agreement. It specifies that animated, cartoons, and comics as separate things. So, that's weird. Is there an animated movie that's nostalgic at this point that Warner Brothers is floating to see how people would react to a sequel to, possibly because of backroom conversations that they're having with execs from Six Flags about, hey, this is what we want to do at our parks? Well, I alluded to a Smarty Pants video, so if you see a video that he recently posted talking about a Polar Express 2, yes. Yes, there is. And Polar Express is more of a theme park movie than anyone realizes. I'm just gonna comment. So, you've got the... So, how is it a theme park movie in the first place? So, Gravity Group actually advised on Glacier Gulch. Like, I did a sort of comedic review where I was obviously reviewing the voyage, but if it had a lot more track length, but reviewing it as the name Glacier Gulch with the setting that Glacier Gulch would have. But now that I'm seeing that they're floating this idea, as that's the case, as the Cedar Fair-Six Flags merger is going down, as the legal agreement specifies animated characters in a special category, and that would qualify for Polar Express. I mean, it's clear that they're looking at it as an IP, and Warner Brothers can tell that, hey, that's going to get it more exposure, so they're seeing how people are going to react to it, because they're like, hey, if it's going to get more exposure from theme parks getting involved, and, like, I mean, with the thing about Gravity Group that I mentioned, and having a roller coaster in the movie, I mean, that's what got people to associate roller coasters and winter together, so that got theme parks to extend their seasons. So, like, hey, I'm just saying, the movie has had quite an impact on the theme park industry. So, the idea that, hey, now the theme parks want a piece of the pie, like, I mean, it only makes sense. And now that this is all happening at the same time as the Cedar Fair-Six Flags merger, it's just something that makes all too much sense that, hey, a movie that was that was ultimately, when it was released, an expensive flop, but has now gained a following, why would they be saying it except, hey, there's something going on that involves, we're going to have reason that we're going to want to have another movie based on this. So it's like, my thoughts on the whole thing are, like, generally when you have too many corporate execs in the same room, bad things happen, because corporate execs generally, that's just something, if something is too corporate, it sucks out creativity. That's just something that can tend to happen. But, like, I mean, with some of the things I've mentioned, we already kind of have real Glacier Gulch. It's called The Voyage. So it's like, now that the official licenses are going to be with the new Six Flags, it's like, that's going to be a little, are they going to stick to the actual behind the scenes and say, hey, we'll hire Gravity Group to build the ride to anchor our Polar Express land to be Glacier Gulch? Like, how are they going to be using that IP in the theme parks? Because, like, I mean, it's clear to me, just looking at all this, that we're going to see a new IP in theme parks. And this is not something that I expected to come out of the Cedar Fair-Six Flags merger, but hey, like, I mean, something that is not that is not comic books or that is not based off of either comic books or Saturday morning cartoons to be the IP used at a theme park. It's like, that might be change that is welcome, just because of how overused the comic book characters and the Saturday morning cartoon type characters, the TV special cartoon type characters are at theme parks. It might be a good thing to have a little bit of a mix up with the IPs, as long as it's not overused. Like, I mean, if this were a couple years ago, I'd be straight up jumping for joy over this. But since this is now, when I'm looking at it from the perspective of, hey, there are more corporate execs in the room, the more corporate execs you have in the room, the more creativity tends to be sucked out. Is it going to be overused? Is it going to become overused like the whole DC Comics thing has been? It's like, these are questions that remain to be answered, but, like, I mean, it's certainly interesting to see that this is likely a direction that the new Six Flags is going to go, using Warner Brothers IPs beyond the Looney Tunes and DC Comics, which, it's certainly interesting, that's for sure.